Hello everyone, I'm Arunima from Knit and Knotter, and in this video today I'm going to show you how to read a chart, something like this, and work in a round with a waistcoat stitch to make a pattern. And this is a very simple graph just for the purpose of this tutorial, and you can use any graph with as many number of stitches as needed. I'm just going to show you how to read this chart and make the same pattern here using two colors, and I'm going to use the waistcoat stitch. So if you're unaware of what the waistcoat stitch is, I have a separate tutorial for it which you can check out on my channel. I'll add a link to it in the description below. So let's start with the chart. So if you see here, I have there are 18 stitches and 10 rows. So the columns are the number of stitches and the number of rows are the number of rows. So I have 18 stitches and 10 rows, and of the 18 stitches I've made 3 rows already in the round. Here they're all of the same color, so 1 2 3 rows, there was nothing here, so I just went ahead and I made the 3 rows of waistcoat stitches. So you can see I've marked my first one here, and there are a total of 3 rows here, 1 2 and 3, and I'm working in a round and I have 18 stitches. So now I'm going to start making the 4th row from here, and I'll show you how to do it and how at this point I'll go ahead and change color. So let's begin. So one more thing, because of the nature of the waistcoat stitch, because the stitches line up exactly on top of each other, I don't really move my stitch marker to find out where my beginning stitch is, because I just know by looking at the line of stitches here I can identify fairly easily where the beginning stitch for the row is. So let's see here. Now for the 4th row I have 7 stitches in the same color, and then I change color. So let's make 7 waistcoat stitches. So that's 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. So I don't complete the 7th stitch, I let the 2 loops here be, and now because the 8th stitch is the one where I'm going to change color, I'm going to take the other color yarn, and I'm going to attach it here, and that. So I'm not going to make this too tight. I'm not going to pull on the white thread too much. It needs to be a loose stitch for the next row, but this is how I change color. So now looking at the chart, my 8th stitch is in the other color, so the green. I'm going to go ahead and make my next stitch using green, and again I'm not going to complete the stitch because my next color is a white again. So I'm going to pick up the white yarn at the back and use that to complete the stitch. So again I did tighten it a little bit, but not too much. So that's how it looks. Again, the next one is a white, and the next one is again a color change. So the color changes 1 2 3 4 5 times here. So there's 1 green, 1 white, 1 green, 1 white 5 times. So I'm just going to do that. So white in the next, and then I take the other color and complete the stitch, and the next, go back to the white because the next stitch is white, make this white, and the last one, the next one is again a green, so green. And then after this is the 12th stitch. After the 12th stitch, I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 stitches with white. So I'm just gonna grab the white and continue making my stitches with white. 1 2 3 4 5 6, and that brings me to the last stitch of the row. So this is the first stitch of the previous row, and this is the last stitch of the previous row. So sorry, this is the first stitch of this row, so I'm at the beginning again. So that makes it a complete of 18 stitches. I'm going to complete this because, sorry, hit the camera. So I am going to complete this stitch because the next one is again a white in the next row, but I'll talk to you about it in a second. So you see here, this is row 4 with the 3 color change, with the 3 green stitches here, and they sit directly on top of the previous row stitches, and they're made using the waistcoat stitch. So one thing to keep in mind here is you could either, so since you're working with 2 yarns, you could either carry the yarn in the back, the other one, the one that you're not working with, or you could leave it hanging the ferrule way and just catch it when needed. Either way works fine. I like to carry my yarn, but the only downside to that is that you can see it peeping outside once in a while. So you can see a slight green here, and I don't mind that. I like that, in fact, because that shows the nature of a handmade product. It's not perfect. It gives it a handmade-ish feel to it, if that's a word. So I like to carry my yarn in the back throughout the project, and that's what I'm going to do here, but you are welcome to choose whatever you would like to do. There is no right or wrong. Whichever method you prefer is okay. So let's go to row 5 now. Row 5 has 8 stitches in white and then 3 in green. So I'm going to make 8 stitches in white with my green yarn carried in the back. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the 8th one is on top of the green one. So the 8th stitch is on top of the green from the previous row. So the 8th goes in. So if you see that there's a V here, I'm going to insert my hook right in the middle, and that's my 8th. And now I'm not going to complete this because my next 3 are green stitches, so I'm going to change color here. Complete this, make 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3. And then at this point I'm going to change color again, because according to this I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 white stitches. So change to white. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So again, that's the last stitch. of the row, and this is how the pattern is looking so far. That's what we have in the graph or in the chart, and I'm going to go with the next row now. So that is 7 white stitches, and then 1 green, 1 white, 1 green, 1 white, 1 green, 1 white. So the same as row 4, exactly the same. So you can see the stitches will line up. So here, and please make sure that your stitches are nice and loose, because as the project grows, it could get harder to make the stitches, especially with when the yarn is carried. There's even lesser space. It's just that I'm working at a very weird angle right now because of the video, but it really is not this hard to insert the hook if you make your stitches loose enough. And I think mine are. It's just that I am not able to see them just as well as I would if the project was closer to me. So see, I didn't even have to count. While I was talking, I forgot the count, but I know that I have to stop at this point because it was where I stopped at row 4. So this is where I stopped at row 4 here. And this is where I'm going to stop again, and I'm going to make a green, white, green, white, green. So the green is going to align on top of the green, the white on top of white, green on top of green from 2 rows back. That's from row 4. So switching to green. That's 1. And then the white. Then the green again. And then the white. One green. That's the last green. And then it is, I think, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 white stitches. 1, 2. Okay, at this point I'm just going to leave the green behind because I don't have to carry it anymore, because I'm done with the green and the only part that's left is all white. So I'm just going to leave that behind so I can cut it and weave it in. So I'm just going to go ahead and do white only at this point. So again, while talking I forgot the count, but it doesn't matter as much because of the stitch marker I will know when I've reached the end of my row. Okay, so here I am. This is the end of the row. This is how it's looking, and now I'm just going to continue making rows of white. So I'm going to make 3 or 4 more rows, and I'll either forward this or maybe snip a part of the video so you can see how the end product looks. So this is how it looks after making 3 more rows. Here's the chart again, and you can see that the pattern matches. There's 1, 2, 3 greens, the 3 colors here, 3 here, and 1, 2, 3 here. So you can make all sorts of patterns with this. What I have realized is that patterns that are not as spaced or patterns that are more filled up, like the plus here is easier to see than the whole pattern. So if it is more filled up with at least 2 stitches of the same color next to each other, it works out much better. And if you see it from far away rather than this close, it will definitely look more like what the pattern chart is. But as far as the technique goes, that is how it's done. You can make whatever pattern you like with it, and anything that can be worked in around can be made using this. So if you make anything using this technique, please share it with me. I'd love to see what you've made, and I have a bunch of other tutorials on my blog in case you're interested. I do a lot of Tunisian crochet, so there's if you want to learn something new, or if you I also have some more advanced patterns which actually don't use a lot of more advanced stitches, but you're welcome to check out my channel for more videos. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my other tutorials. Bye bye.